Yo, it's Roy Marcus from City back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about why DMZ is the hardest top 5K grind. And we're kind of going to be comparing all of them, but mainly covering DMZ towards the end and why I think it's the most difficult out of the three. So multiplayer, BR, and DMZ all have the ability to grind for leaderboards and become top 5K. And coming with that, you get to put a sparkly icon over your legendary symbol, right? So everybody's probably seen that before. You know what it is, what it means to be top 5K. Now, top 5K for MP, I would say is really easy. It's really just how much do you play. I think that comes mostly coming from me as I enjoy the mode a lot, right? And since I enjoy it a lot, I don't feel like it's really that much of a grind, but it can be worse depending on the meta in that season. But as long as you really enjoy multiplayer, I feel like a lot of people will enjoy grinding the top 5K in multiplayer. So I feel like that one's not that difficult because most people tend to enjoy it. That's what the core of Call of Duty is about. Now let's talk about BR real quick, covering this one pretty quickly. BR, you could literally hit top 5K without playing. So being able to do that, even though it will take more time, you can literally hit it without playing at all. That's kind of terrible, right? Like, can't we agree? You don't have to play. I've made several videos about the AFK strategy. Basically, you queue into a first-person squads match in Alcatraz, and you just die, or you land on top of a building. And once you land, you're not going to die. Your teammates will go around and kill everybody on the map, and you come in first. You get however many points, and you move on, right? And you just keep doing that again. That's it's easy, right? It's super easy to do. I don't do it because it's also boring. It's very boring. I think BR as a whole is boring because I'm not a BR enjoyer. I do think one thing you'll notice if you go look at all the top 5K leaderboards right now, the points that you need to hit legendary or hit top 5K for MP is currently at about 16K, I think. And what you need to hit top 5K in BR is at 20K, 20,000 points, I believe. And then DMZ, let's talk about DMZ now. DMZ's points that you need is at 9,000. You just need to hit 9,000. Once you hit 9,000, you don't get points anymore, right? You get like no points for every game you do. It becomes infinitely harder to get points. That's why it's so low. I do think it's also the hardest just because the way the mode plays. I had a slew of games last night, right? So I posted my video about the sprint strategy yesterday and played like for a few hours last night and got absolutely horked on for hours. It was just bad game after bad game, death after death. I lost 5 ultra armors and 5 ultra backpacks, and I just couldn't get anything going. I just kept dying, right? A lot of Phoenix, you know what I mean? I feel like the meta, when there's a broken meta in DMZ, it's a lot more noticeable, right? Because you're going to die to it, and you're probably not getting revived, right? Your teammates are not reviving you. You're just kind of on your own, and the game's over, most likely, right? If they do get to you, you only have one more life, and if you die again, you're done. So I feel like it's definitely a lot harder to do DMZ side of things. Now, I do understand like what makes it more difficult, right? Because it's not necessarily, if we're bringing in the point scale, because the point scale is what is used to judge your, what do you call it? Like your rank. That is kind of just because the point scale is different for DMZ, and once you hit a certain amount of points, you just don't get points anymore. That is not why it's the hardest, right? It's hardest because I think of how the game mode plays. Right, I feel like now that I've hit top 5K in DMZ, lobby queue times are ridiculously long. Like I'm having to wait 80 seconds to get into a lobby, whereas before I feel like I would get into a lobby in like 10 seconds and I'm in there, right? But now I'm top 5K, I can't get into a lobby as fast. I don't know why that is. I'm guessing there has to be another top 5K player in the lobby somewhere in order for me to do that. That's kind of terrible. In terms of like now the grind just takes longer because I can't get into games as fast. That kind of sucks. But yeah, I had a horrible stretch. I was up to like 9,100 points before like last night when I started playing. And then I dropped to 89.50, I think, this morning. Right, this morning when I record this gameplay, I was down to the 89.50 range. So like for this gameplay, I think I got like plus 25 points because I was back below 9,000, where you get more points for your wins. It's a brutal grind, I think, for top 5K and DMZ. I think it's the hardest. I do understand where the difficulty can be with multiplayer. I've hit top 5K. I've been top 1,000. I've been top 100 at one point in multiplayer. So I've done pretty much as you could do outside of being first overall, right? And that's just I don't do this for a living. You know what I mean? Like being first overall, it's not feasible, right? I can't play that much. But I think, that one, if you enjoy what you're grinding, it's not really as bad. It's not as hard because you're having fun and you're probably doing really good every game, right? So I feel like with multiplayer, a lot of people tend to really enjoy multiplayer, so it can be easier to grind. BR, I feel like it's the same way for a lot of people out there. They really enjoy BR. Me personally, I find it boring, so I don't enjoy it. I think the meta sucks, right? These pump shotguns have ruined the game for the last 3 years in BR and AK-117. So it's just like when you die to the same thing over and over and over again, right? He's got an AK-117 and he's got a pump shotgun, and you just run into that constantly. Sucks. It just sucks, right? DMZ's kind of the same way now. The more I'm playing it and I'm hitting top 5K and I'm realizing this, DMZ, I mean, it's just a Fennec and SO14 that I have died to those two guns. Out of, let's just say I've died and lost the game, 40 times this season. Out of those 40 times, 37 of my deaths were to the Fennec and the SO14, right? I think it's ridiculously overpowered with some of these guns. I feel like with Ultra Armor, my deaths to Fennecs are just like I'm incinerated, like literally like a shotgun, like a one pump shotgun. When you run into a Fennec, man, you just get blasted. It's crazy. Hopefully they do something with the meta. It needs a change to something not one of those guns. I really think like an AR, like, you know what I mean? Like an AR is probably the best option for meta for DMZ. I think that's where it feels best. I haven't played when there's an LMG that's the meta, so maybe we could see something like that happen where that'd be really good. But right now, definitely feel weird. I would like to get the Ultra Outlaw with the 3-round burst mod. I would like to see how good that is. I feel like that would just be fun to use. But I heard it also is really good. Just it's hard to get that crafted so you can use it. I do think in terms of depth of each mode, like I feel like multiplayer is kind of, the depth is there for people at the highest level, but for, if you're just trying to grind for top 5K, just run around and kill people, right? And I feel like you can kind of get there just by doing that. BR, I feel like there's no depth. You can literally do it just AFK grinding. I bet you those people who are like number one in BR leaderboards, they straight AFK grind in like their off time, right? They play a lot, but they also probably AFK grind a lot, and they get a lot of points from that. I mean, with the amount of points that people have at the top of that leaderboard, like it's insane. It's like how are you getting this many points? Probably just got their phone charged or their iPad charged, just queuing in the games while they're doing chores or something like that. It's crazy. In DMZ, I feel like you can't do that. There's so much AI on the map. You can't go AFK. You know what I mean? Like you'll just die to AI, and then your teammates will be gone doing their own thing, and you're not getting revived, right? And it feels like it's a lot more detailed in what you have to do to get there. So I personally, just to kind of summarize this video, right? Because we're talking about what the hardest top 5K grinds are. I'm ranking it with DMZ at number 1. That's the hardest to hit top 5K in. Just because it's the least amount of points, I still think it's the most difficult to get to, especially once we get later in the season and you have to get to like 10K points. And once you hit 9K, man, you don't get points anymore, like at all. So getting to 10K is going to be as long as it takes to get to 10K from 9K is as long as it takes to get from like 6K to 9K. It's going to take forever. So that's what I'm thinking on. And then I'll put MP at second and BR last. BR is the easiest. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you want to. Let me know your thoughts on what mode is easiest to hit top 5K in COD Mobile. And yeah, turn on post notifications if you want to. It's been your boy Marcus Amorsini. I'm out of here. Peace.